the 8bitdo Ultimate has a stick problem. So if I hold down here and I let go, you can see that it went farther than it should. So whenever you let go, it should go back to the neutral, just like that. So if you let go of the controller, it's supposed to go back to the middle, just like that. But sometimes with this controller, it happens somewhat more frequently than it should. It does not go back to neutral, and actually will continue further. So there it is again. It's going ahead and then going up sometimes, and that can cause a lot of issues. Now, I was wondering if this was just my model of controller, but my friend also bought the same exact controller just a few days before me and says that he has the exact same issues. And it's not just limited to down going up like that. It's also to the left. If I go to the left and I do this a few times, you'll notice that it'll happen sometimes like that. And then if I go to the right, it happens right there. And if I do diagonals, it'll also happen. So every single direction, it will happen to some degree. It's not really happening to the top right. It happened there. And then it happened to this one, back, up, back. And then if I do down, back, it happens. So it happens in really just about every direction, with some differences, but snapback is prevalent in every direction. So let me go ahead and go in Smash and show how this could be quite a big problem. So I'm using a fighting game character here because that kind of exacerbates these issues and really shows just how bad they could be. So you probably want this controller because it has Hall effect sensors, and that's supposed to prevent drift and presumably snapback, but unfortunately it seems it does not. So I tried this controller with every adapter, the adapter that was included, and in the charge dock doing wired. I did it with Bluetooth, 2.4 GHz, and I even used the software to try and see if there's an update or something that would fix it, but unfortunately the only thing that you can change in there is the dead zones of the controller, which do not actually fix this issue. So if I hold down and then I let go, I actually got a motion input there, and I only press the A button, so this is upbeat. So the only way for that motion to come out is through motion inputs, which is where you do sort of like specialized inputs such as like DP. So if I do a DP here, a little bit difficult on this controller because of the snapback, and sometimes it just kind of happens. So this is really bad if you're trying to go for a combo such as down tilt, which is quite a bread and butter / staple for Terry or a lot of fighting game characters like Ryu and whatnot. So if I do this, I actually get up B there. So that's not the intended behavior out of this. You really want to let go of down tilt to try and go into power dunk anyway. So this does happen pretty frequent and could be quite frequently an issue that you do run into. And this is not just limited for Terry, because this could cause you to do up tilts sometimes. And much worser, it'll do that input. So you don't, right there was an up tilt. So you don't really want this with any character really. And it's not just limited to down tilt, but that's the one I'm going to show because that's the one that I can have that most consistently has this happen. So for Smash, I really cannot recommend this controller because of its stick issues. And it's not just the left stick. If I go back into the calibration, we can see that it also does happen with the right stick, which is quite a big issue because the right stick is also commonly used for Smash. Right there, it snapped back to the right, even though I did left. So if I do it to the right, it will also snap back to the left. If I hold down, it will also snap back up, and then down, and then up to down. It will snap back. So this can be quite problematic, even for doing just things like tilt inputs. Sometimes it'll happen. I can't get it to really consistently happen while recording, but it has happened quite a bit off camera where I'm just trying to do inputs, and then sometimes it'll do inputs that I simply do not want. And that's really bad because these sticks are the main reason I bought this controller, and I even said it in the first video where I really like this D-pad, but it's really hard to get over these control sticks because I bought this controller for Smash and I have other controllers to play for fighting games and whatnot. And I don't think this controller is necessarily worth keeping because of these control sticks. Everything else I think is quite great about this controller, but it's so unfortunate that these control sticks have such a big issue, and there's just no real resolution. So that's why I don't think this controller is good.